Yes, hello, welcome everybody. It's time to take another look at Dice Masters through the lens of the source material. This is the second part of my Marvel What If Dice Masters style video. Yes, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. So, the Marvel What If cartoon from the MCU is currently running on Disney+. And that's inspired me to take a look at the Marvel What If concept from the point of view of the game of Dice Masters. Over the years, there's been a number of Marvel sets that have included what if characters, cards that have been inspired by these kind of what if alternative versions of our favourite characters. And so I've dug those cards out, gone through some old comic book back issues, tried to find out the lore, try and find out what's inspired these characters, and then jumped on camera to share those with you. Now, if you're not familiar with it, the Marvel What If concept is pretty straightforward. What they tend to do is they take an event from the core universe, sometimes a significant event, sometimes not so significant, and they make a change to what happens, and that creates a breakaway timeline. And then in that breakaway timeline, there's new interpretations of these characters that they then write new books about, new stories about, create new narratives around. And that's what we're seeing in the cards. We're seeing these characters, these slight twists or these interesting interpretations of characters that we already know and love from the main universe. If you've not seen part one, don't worry, there's no information in part one that you need to see in order to understand what I'm doing here in part two. However, I will put a link in for you right at the back end of the video. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this stuff, if you like it when I take a look at Dice Masters through the lens of the comic book lore, then give us a thumbs up, let me know that this is good stuff. And if you're not already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. Right, now let's get into it then. Let's take a look at some cards. I'm going to jump over to the close-up camera. Right, okay, I've got my close-up cam to take a look at the cards. I've got a bit of space below me if I want to flash any pictures up. Let's get started with this one. This is Charles Xavier Juggernaut, Brains and Brawn. Let's just move you forward a wee touch. When Charles Xavier Juggernaut attacks, name a die and draw a die from your bag. If it is the named die, add it to your prep area and spin this die up one level. Otherwise, add it to your used pile. 6 cost with the cross pulse energy, max die 1, pretty standard stuff for the what ifs. Honestly, not a great card. I haven't done a great deal with this one. I'm not team built with it. But let's talk about the what if angle. And from the what if angle, you need to just understand some kind of core comic book lore. So Charles Xavier and Cain Marko being the Juggernaut, are in fact brothers. They're stepbrothers. They share the same father. Cain Marko served as a soldier in the Korean War, maybe the Vietnam War, certainly one of those two kind of major conflicts. And during that time as a soldier, he happens across this tomb. And inside the tomb, there's a mystical gem called the Gem of Cyttorak. I'm not entirely sure of the pronunciation. I've only ever read it on a page. But that imbues him with the Juggernaut power, and he becomes, the villainous Juggernaut, the almighty indestructible dude that we know and love today. However, in the what if angle, which is from issue 13 of the run in the 80s, Charles Xavier is serving with his brother. He discovers the tomb alongside his brother, and he takes hold of the mystical gem of Cyttorak. And in addition to his own mutant abilities as a psychic and a telepath, he also takes on the powers that the Juggernaut has, that he gets from the gem. This leads him to kind of go a little bit mad with power, and Charles Xavier, as is often the case in an X-book, becomes a dictatorial fascist ruler who's using an army of mutants to police the world, because that's just what they do in X-Men comics. They create fascist states all the time. He's obviously a bit loopy. He's very difficult to defeat. However, Cain Marko leads a human resistance supported by some of the mutants that were serving under Charles Xavier that have become kind of disillusioned by his approach and what he's been doing. And they rise up against him, and that's where the main driving force of the narrative comes from. I won't tell you how it concludes or what happens, although it kind of echoes another event for a main character out of the core universe, which I think is really interesting. But Charles Xavier Juggernaut is basically a mashup of the Juggernaut powers and the Charles Xavier character. Right, okay, before I go any further, just wanted to do a massive thank you to @NewDiceMasters on Twitter. They're a huge Dice Masters fan. They do great stuff with custom playmat designs. I've interacted with them a number of times over the years. And they have an encyclopedic knowledge of Marvel comic books far in excess of my own, and help me track down some of the more obscure storylines and some of the more obscure narratives that have inspired these characters. So thank you at New Dice Masters, and if you don't already, folks, please go track them down and follow them on Twitter. Right, let's get into the next card then, and the next one is Shannon Carter, Captain America of Earth 81223. She reads, while Shannon Carter is active, your sidekick dice get +2 attack and +2 defense, which is pretty decent, although she is a 6 cost. Now this one is a bit of a mashup, actually, as far as the card goes, because it's got kind of 2 alternative Shannon Carters acknowledged here. Earth 81223 appears in a What If Age of Ultron volume, issue 4. And the storyline in that, so Steve Rogers, Captain America, dies in that universe, and Iron Man, in an effort to kind of keep that inspirational figure of Captain America and that kind of that mythology and that ethos that he represents alive in the United States, recruits, of all people, Frank Castle, the Punisher, to become the new Captain America. He is so successful as Captain America that then Iron Man moves on to create a Captain America for every state in the US. So there's basically a national Captain America police force that is created under Iron Man's kind of purview. And Shannon Carter, in that issue, is very briefly glimpsed as one of those Captain Americas, which is what that Captain America of Earth 81223 is referencing. However, the image, the picture, is actually of a character called American Dream, who exists in Earth 982. And this is, again, a Shannon Carter who's kind of adopted the Captain America character, but in her own storyline. Again, I think Steve Rogers has died, and she's kind of continued the legacy on. She, very similar in power and ability. She's got a few different bits. She's got like these little mini shields that she fires as discs off her arms and stuff. But the image there is from the cover of one of the American Dream issues, I think issue 1. And she's appeared a couple of times in a number of miniseries that focus on Earth 982. So this Shannon Carter here is actually 2 What If characters in one card. How about that, eh? Obviously, that caused me and at New Dice Masters a great deal of pain when it came to tracking down where this one had come from, what had inspired this particular card, but there you go. Okay, Shannon Carter, Captain America of Earth 81223. Okay, next on the list is Blink In-Betweener, Agent of Order and Chaos. 4 cost, cross-pulse energy, got the X-Men affiliation. She reads, when fielded and when Blink In-Betweener attacks, roll target die in your use pile. If he shows an energy face, KO all opposing character dice that match that energy type. Then return the die to your use pile. So fun, bit of janky fun there, interesting card, but let's talk about the character. So in the main universe, Blink is a member of a X-Men team called Generation X. There's a big crossover event in the mid-90s called the Phalanx Covenant. The Phalanx are like this extraterrestrial, techno-organic alien thing that comes to Earth and starts hunting down new teenage mutants to absorb them into their consciousness and take over their energy force or power or whatever. And through the course of that crossover event, a number of new teenage mutants are introduced, and at the conclusion of the event, this new team is created, which is the headmaster and headmistress are Sean Cassidy, the Banshee, and Emma Frost, the White Queen, and they create this new team. Jubilee is one of the more significant members of that team, Blink, who becomes a well-known kind of X-character, although she has her own kind of story arc involving the Age of Apocalypse and stuff. But there's also Chamber and Monet St. Croix and Husk, who all become kind of recurring X-characters that we see through the years, even after the Generation X team wrapped up. And in the What If storyline, where Blink In-Betweener appears, there's this guy, the In-Betweener, lives in this cosmic realm. He's got this almighty kind of cosmic power. The Generation X are having this battle with a Phalanx thing called Harvest. And in that storyline, originally, Blink dies in the battle. She saves the rest of the team by giving up her own life and using her blinky teleporty powers. However, in the What If breakaway timeline, her blinky teleport towers drop her into the In-Betweener's cosmic realm. And through some events that take place there, she ends up taking on the In-Betweener's powers and becoming the almighty Blink In-Betweener. She then starts doing all sorts of funky stuff, and there's a storyline with Sean Cassidy, like not being convinced that everything's right. Go check it out. But yeah, there you go. Blink In-Betweener, Agent of Order and Chaos. All right then, now we've got Punisher, Sorcerer Supreme, Calm Dust. Which is a reference directly out the issue he appeared in. Marvel Knight, Mystic, 4 cost. When fielded, each player KOs their character dice with the lowest attack. When Punisher Sorcerer Supreme attacks, KO target character die in the field zone with the lowest attack. Actually an interesting character to play with as a card, but let's talk about the comic book lore. So the Punisher Sorcerer Supreme appears in Secret Wars Battleworld 1. And to understand what's going on here, and a couple of other cards I've got coming up, I need to talk about the Ultimate Universe and the Secret Wars. So, in the early 2000s, Marvel decided that their main universe was getting too dense, the character backstories were too complex, and it was hard for new readers to come and infiltrate and understand what was going on. So they did a rebranded breakaway line called the Ultimate line, which is Earth 1610. So they kind of just refreshed it. They took on board some of the stuff that had been popular from the films. There's some absolute crazy stuff that goes on in the Ultimate storyline, some very controversial events, might I add. But at a later date, that universe gets destroyed, and this is through the machinations of Doctor Doom, who's created Battleworld from the Secret Wars storyline, and he's kind of done this big mystical event that has just mashed up a load of universes. It's so hard to explain sometimes unless you've read absolutely every kind of step of the way, but he's mashed them all up, created Battleworld, which has got all these different sections of all these different universes within it. He's like the Emperor Supreme of this Battleworld. Read the main Secret Wars sort of central series in the middle, really, to get a sense of that. But through that event, there was all these little extra issues and mini-series that took place that were exploring all these different sections of this big mystical cosmic battle world that's got all these little plug-in bits from different universes. And this Punisher is from Earth, I wrote it down, 27169. So what's happened here? Doctor Strange has died in this universe, bitten by a vampire, ironically enough, which if you see my first volume, that happened in the storyline that surrounds the Wolverine Lord of Vampires. But he then kind of takes up residence, his astral form takes up residence inside Frank Castle, the Punisher, like a second voice that's talking to him. He's not like taking over his body, they're both still two consciences in one body. And so the Punisher then is in this battle world, stomping around, being the Punisher, but he's also got this additional support from Dr. Stephen Strange. He kind of doesn't take on Dr. Stephen Strange's powers. The astral projected version of Doctor Strange in his head tells him the spells, and he then casts them using keywords, which is what the subtitle's all about, Calm Dust, because he does calm the Hulk down, and he turns, if memory serves me right, the Ghost Rider to dust, just with a click of his fingers and the statement dust. So that's a little lore reference there in his subtitle. Doctor Doom in the Battleworld story kind of is like, whoa, that's a very powerful dude there, and sends some assassins to try and kill him, which is where that all kind of unravels. So the Punisher Sorcerer Supreme is from Earth 27169 and first appeared in Secret Wars Battleworld issue 1. Speaking of Secret Wars and the Battleworld's realms, that helps us kind of pin down the next card, which is Groot Thor, I Am Thor. Fun one to play with, this one, actually. 4 cost, Guardians and Avengers affiliation. When fielded, use a copy of each when fielded effect on every other character die in the field zone, including your opponents. Prevent all effects that would copy Groot Thor's abilities, even if he's not in the field zone. Crazy stats as well. 144, 146, 259. 9 defense for a 4 cost. So yeah, really fun card to play around with. Again, not particularly competitive, but proper janky. And if you and your opponent are loaded up with loads of when fielded effects, you can have mega fun with this one. Just to have a laugh with it, But let's talk about the characters. So in Doctor Doom's Battleworld realms universe thing that he creates, he needs to keep control, and in order to maintain control, he does a couple of things, and one of the things he does is he collects Thors from all these different universes, brainwashes them, and turns them into his own little kind of elite Thor police force, of which Groot Thor is one of them. Now, I've not read every single Secret Wars related miniseries, but the ones that I have read, this Groot Thor just seems to sort of appear in group shots of the Thor police force when they turn up. So a call out to the audience in the comments down below. Let me know, does this Groot Thor have a more significant role to play in one of the other Secret Wars mini-series or breakaway issues that I've perhaps not read? Because I've only really seen him in like I say, in those group shots, and I don't know where that artwork has come from, so please do let me know. But yet another one related to the Secret Wars storyline and this combined realm, the Battleworld, with all the different universes kind of plugged into this one master universe that's being controlled by Doctor Doom. Okay, then we're off to Earth 2149 now, and we've got a bundle of cards for Earth 2149 because this is the universe where the Marvel zombies appear. So there's been quite a few through the years in the Marvel What If Dice Masters style. So I'll just, every now and again, just kind of change the card up so you can take a look at the next one. This one here is Magneto, Magnetic Monster. He's quite significant, actually, in one of the Marvel Zombies storylines, and also a meta card back in the day. There's Gladiator, Intergalactic Terror. So the zombies then. So what's happened here? I mean, I don't even know where to begin really, but the first appearance is in the Ultimate Fantastic Four. So remember that Ultimate Universe I was talking about before? The Reed Richards of that universe is experimenting with interdimensional travel. And he is contacted by another Reed Richards from another dimension who wants to meet up through a dimensional gateway and share knowledge and share information and technology, which, of course, the Reed Richards of the Ultimate Universe is interested in. Yeah, sure, absolutely. He's younger as well. He's a younger Reed Richards there's an older Reed Richards on the other side. Again, how many times can I say the same words over? Like, the name Reed Richards has just lost all meaning to me because I've said it so many times. At the moment at which that interdimensional gateway is opened up, though, the Ultimate Universe Reed Richards discovers that he's actually been duped. And that is the Marvel Zombie Reed Richards, because the zombies in this storyline are conscious. They have a consciousness. They retain their intellect, and they have fed on the entire planet and are now looking to break into other planets so that they can feed off new planets because they're flesh-eating. So he's been duped, and this then introduces us to the Marvel Zombies universe. There's been a number of 5-issue series that have taken place. We eventually, a bit later on, discover how the zombie infection took place. A Sentry, who, if you're not familiar with him, he's like a Superman-style character in the Marvel Universe. An infected Sentry from another alternate dimension lands in Earth 2149. And when the Avengers go to try and defeat him, they subsequently become infected themselves. And because they're, like, Earth's mightiest heroes, they go on to infect loads of others. And that's how the disease spreads until the point at which there's no one left to feed on. It was written by Robert Kirkman, who, in interviews, has said, I didn't think I was going to end up being the zombie guy, but I am the zombie guy, because his other really famous comic book title is The Walking Dead, of course. So another zombie-related narrative that he's obviously the instigator of. So there's just been like sequel after sequel after sequel that have revisited the Marvel Zombies universe. But ultimately, the main driving force behind the storyline is that these zombies that exist in Earth 2149 are always trying to acquire new ways of feeding. They're looking for new flesh to feed upon. In fact, in one of the storylines, the Silver Surfer turns up as the Herald of Galactus, says Galactus is on his way, and they manage to infect Galactus, and that gives them kind of intergalactic access, and they start feeding on loads of other planets. It's absolutely crazy. It's been hugely popular. It has got a bit of a gory, gothic feel, and I'm pretty sure from a trailer that I saw for the Marvel What If cartoon that there's going to be a zombie-related storyline appear in there. So the Marvel Zombies from Earth 2149 are conscious zombies who hunger for flesh, who've retained something of their character and personality and retained their intellect. So super dangerous. Actually, just before I wrap up on Marvel Zombies, there's a kind of funny recurring joke where Spider-Man, Peter Parker, one thing that happens is after they've fed, they kind of go back to who they were before they became the evil zombies, and Peter Parker's conscience gets the better of him, and he's always whining and moaning, and the others are like, "Oh, shut up, Peter, will you?" Magneto is a very significant character in one of the early storylines as well. So there you go, the Marvel Zombies. All right then, looking at the recording time there, I'm going to wrap that one up there and bring part 2 to a close. I'm going to do a whole one on the Earth X characters, because there's been, like the Marvel Zombies, there's been a number of Earth X characters. That'll probably just be a short one to finish off the series and do a part 3. I'm pretty busy over the next couple of weeks. I'm returning back to the office and stuff now that our lockdown rules here in the UK have changed, so that one might take a little while to turn up. I'll remind you, if you do enjoy these lore related videos, then please do give me a thumbs up, give me a note in the comments below to say, yeah, these we're loving these, or nah, not for me, can you do more of this stuff, whatever. Just give me the feedback so I know I'm going in the right direction. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. I've been Chris from the Ministry of Dice, and I'll catch you on a podcast, on a blog post over at BritRoller6.com, or here on the channel sometime soon. Thanks for watching, folks. I swear to God, I don't know why I thought this video series would be a good idea. Some of these are convoluted as